Hello, everyone, joining today live or watching us in the recording. Uh, it is our signature event, Novatore Mission Executive monthly live interviews about leadership and business with women leaders, and our speakers successful and passionate professionals will share their knowledge, experiences, and tips for professional growth. Some members join live, many watch the recording, and those who are here now, I invite you to write your questions in the chat. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Egija Gailuma, cars and business enthusiast, a serial entrepreneur and innovator, co-founder at Energy Cell, co-founder at OX Works, ex-co-founder at OX Drive. And Egija has also worked with battery energy storage systems, is a former co-founder of OX Drive, Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree, speaker at conferences and events, very purpose-driven, and with over 15 years of global volunteer experience, and on a mission to fund for animal welfare and advocate for movement and balance. And I could go on and on and on with all of your titles and different roles. Is there something you would like to add that I didn't mention?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Elza. You're making me blush, basically, or with all the good things you're telling. But no, I think you didn't miss anything. I think pretty much you covered all the important things.
Mm-hmm. All right. Today, I want to talk a lot about your entrepreneurial experience and about your leadership journey. And with this conversation, I feel like you inspire a lot and many people, and also me, with your entrepreneurial drive and with everything that you do for the world. Let's talk about the first sparks in your entrepreneurial spirit. I believe people who have followed you know that one of your first businesses, or the first business, was a flower shop, and that was your dream.
I don't know if you can really call it flower shop.
Well, with a bigger imagination, what do you remember most vividly about that experience? How did it go?
Well, I have no idea why did I come up with it, but for people who don't know about it, so it wasn't really like a flower shop. We had like a garden, this small, tiny summer house in Adaži, and so it was elementary school, something around that, I think grade 4th or something similar. And there was the summer break, and I was alone at this small, tiny summer house. And one day I decided that I'm gonna, sell flowers, but the area is, for those who are from Latvia, they know the name called Dārziņi. So that's a place where you have all those tiny, tiny, small summer houses. It's basically where people go in the evenings for weekends. It's not like a busy place like in the city. So I decided that I'm gonna sell flowers. But at that time, well, what flowers can I really get? So I was walking around and picking up, not really flowers, they were anything but flowers, that you can find along the road. So I picked up those, and then I found some big cardboard on which I wrote that flowers and like an arrow, and I put it up on the street, next to our house. And then I put those flowers inside of glasses and stuff like that. And then I just sat in the backyard of the summer house. And I was waiting that people will come and actually buy flowers. Of course, no one appeared, like literally no one. And then my dad arrived home in the evening, and he was, on the one hand, he was very happy about it because he thought, okay, it's like an initiative, so cool. So he bought all the flowers. I guess I was selling everything, for like 1 lat or something. So €1, whatever, 20 cents. So he bought it all. So I was sold out on day first. But he encouraged me that I shouldn't invite strangers inside the backyard and house, that, that this is not too safe what I'm doing. So that was the first and last day of business. So I opened, 0 costs. nothing. I earned money, and I also closed it that day. So yeah, that was my very first attempt at business.
Wow. So you're very, very resourceful. You can build a business from anything around you. And
Yeah, if we call it business.
I believe we should call it business. It's the mindset that matters. And is business in your family? Does business run in your family? Where did you come up with such an idea? Did you see a movie or?
No. I don't have anyone in my family or even relatives who would own a business. My dad is a car mechanic and my mom is an accountant. My grandparents worked, my granddad worked for 60 years in one workplace. So when I was, thinking of all the different ideas when I was around 16, 18, then he was always thinking that I'm crazy and that, come on, girl, you need to find a job. Where do you want to work? So no, I didn't have anyone else to look up to except for, my icon since, I don't know, age 12 or something was Richard Branson. He was my icon. I was reading all the books that I could. I was watching all his TV shows as, he was a crazy guy. So he was the only person that was inspiring me even, on this young age as no one else was doing any business.
But you got the love for cars from your family.
Yes, from my dad. From my dad. I was, as a kid, I was, looking how he's fixing cars, handing him tools on summer breaks. I was, going with him to the warehouses, to the garages. So yeah, that's where I got the love for cars.
From your experience, do you believe that people are born as entrepreneurs, or can it be developed?
I think that there is something that, in some way you are born with it, with this kind of this urge to build something, to do something. I think that is more or less already kind of in your genetics, whether you want to build something or not. But to be as an entrepreneur, that you can easily learn how to do it. But if you don't even have that urge that you want to do something on your own, that you want to build something, then why even try to convince someone that you should do something on your own if that person doesn't even want to? So that's what I think, that willingness is something that's already inside of you, but how to do it is something that you can easily learn.
And from your childhood, what did you do outside of school? I believe that the extracurricular activities add a lot to the spirit. What did you do as a child to build your character?
Well, I was an active kid. I joined the animal shelter as a volunteer around age 12, 11, something like that. So then I was volunteering and going there for every weekends and even on weekday evenings. Then I joined a political party as a youngster. I don't know, around age 15, 16, something like that. And then I, helped with all the pre-election campaigns, and there was a board, so I applied also for this youth sections board. Then I also joined NGOs, like these youth organizations. For example, there was this Telos. I guess many people, I think, might know it. So I was joining also those organizations and, going to different events, applying for all the possible events that were, not Erasmus, but those European kind of exchanges, and doing sports. I was also doing a lot of sports, playing handball, frisbee, And the way how I was earning money, actually, when I was, in middle school and high school, I was earning money by training other people's dogs. So that was actually the way how I got, some money that I had this passion and love for animals. Then I don't even remember how, but somehow I got into it. And then I was literally, people were paying me that, for example, I take their dog for an hour. They paid me 30 lats. And I just, for an hour, I was working with their dog and then going to these dog shows. And, that you're this handler. It's called handler, that you're taking their dog and then you're going into this arena, showing his dog at the dog show and receiving prizes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. And did you also have a family dog at home?
Yeah.
So
Basically,
three skills.
I used to have dogs until I moved out, and then my lifestyle started, and then I don't have a dog now.
Right. All right. Not yet. Probably
Yeah.
you later, right? All
When
right.
yeah.
Okay. Then more about your business lessons. So after your flower shop, what was the next business that you started or tried starting?
Well, I tried many things. I also built, like these. I was trying to sell tickets to my tree house, but that also didn't work, right? So that also doesn't count as a business. But then the real attempt was around between 16, 17, 18 years old. I didn't remember precisely, but me and a girl from the animal shelter, we decided that, let's build an online store for animal products, in a sense that for pets, food, toys, whatever. And then what we did, we registered a company. We took a loan, those fast loans that you could get. You just sign up,
Mhm.
in 30 minutes you get money, and it is something around, I think, 300 or 400 lats, something around that. Then we signed agreements with wholesalers that were selling all the food and then all the supplies in bulk.
Mhm.
We took the office. We paid for the first month and for the last month of the office. We came to the office that day, and I remember how we were sitting down and thinking that, okay, so we have a loan, we have an official company, we have the office space, but we don't have a web page. We don't have customers, but we have everything else. So that was the biggest lesson, that no, you don't need an office and a loan before you actually build the product and you have the customers. And then we were trying, to sell to all of our friends. And then what happened is that, of course, the wholesalers, they didn't sell us like, one, for example, dog food bag. So we were literally going to Dino Zoo, which is, the retail chain for pet food in Latvia. We went in there, bought it for, let's say, 30 lats, and sold it to our friends for 30 lats. So we lost actually money, on fuel, on taxi, because we needed to deliver it. That was the main idea. And so, it went bankrupt. I guess no surprise there, because of course we couldn't keep doing that, because we hadn't even clue how to build, an e-commerce store, because one thing is just a website, but another thing is actually an online store. So yeah, and then we just, it's kind of like we didn't even close it because there was nothing to close, right? So we just kind of like stopped the agreement with the office space, and as we have paid already for the last month, we just lost that money. So we still had to pay off the loan, and of course we didn't have that much money at that time, right, to pay it off. So I started receiving those debt collection letters. So I was rushing. I was living with my parents, of course. So I was rushing, to the postal office first in the morning to collect all the, paper that was there, because I was all the time worried about those debt collector letters. And I received them, of
Mhm.
course, and then we paid, I think, I don't know, 200% more than actually,
Mhm.
But of course, that girl, she was older, so she was covering most of that debt. As I was
Mhm.
literally, I was still, underage, so I really couldn't, get that much money. So yeah, that was a very good experience for us.
It does not happen often that you get such harsh business lessons at the age of 17. So you have already uh, made a flower shop, sold tickets to your tree house, trained dogs, now opened and closed the business. Do you remember any difference between opening and closing a business then and now?
Well,
So
as I
it's
said, it wasn't closing, so there was nothing to close. It just didn't work
okay.
out. So I kept
Okay.
the legal entity is still there. So the
Ah,
legal entity is still there
yes.
because, I didn't close the legal entity because I thought maybe, I'll do something else. And then afterwards, I created an event agency. So I
Ah,
just used that legal entity, and my
I
friend,
see.
we just kind of like took her out so that she wouldn't be, connected to this legal entity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's kind of like you just didn't keep selling the dog food, and that's it.
Right, right. So friends, family, and fools are your first customers, right?
Yeah,
As
yeah.
I'm in business and with startups, yeah.
Everywhere, yeah.
So
Literally.
that's yeah, proven by your example. It I feel like it does take a lot of courage. Did you feel like you were very brave when you did it, or you just felt like, okay, I want to do it?
I think I was more like, YOLO. I was really not thinking. I was just, yeah, let's make an online store. Yeah, let's do it. Amazing. We have all the plans. I was always just very driven because since very childhood, I've always dreamed about, this luxurious life and how wealthy I'm gonna be and stuff like that. So I was, whenever an opportunity was presented, I was never thinking. Literally, I was never thinking. I was like, yeah, of course, let's do it, let's try it.
Mhm.
And then just afterwards you just learn, like after this online store that you cannot really call an online store, but basically the way how we lost money, then my next business after like 3 years was this event agency. Why event agency? It wasn't because I was passionate about events. I was trying to think of what business doesn't require any capital, any investment, any product, and I can do it alone. And it was an event agency. So the only thing that I needed is to convince my clients to pay like 70-80% upfront. And that is not maybe an easy job, but I think at that time I was also so naive that I didn't know that it's not the standard. I didn't know that usually event agencies don't ask for like 80% upfront. I just didn't know that. So when you are in a way clueless, it's the best, because I just went and said, yeah, well, 80% upfront. They're like, why? I'm like, well, because I need to buy everything for you or rent it out for you. It's kind of like, it's obvious, isn't it? And they just didn't have any arguments against that, right? And I was
True.
clueless. So I just asked about it, and no client declined it. Every client that I had, all of them paid like 80% upfront.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great mindset, and some part of it is luck, and some part of it is just doing it straightforward, right?
Yeah. But also luck, also, of course, it always, because recently with my co-founders, we had a discussion about luck. And we were talking that, of course, luck is very important. But in order for luck to actually arrive, you have to do something. If you're going to sit, on the couch, and watch TV, luck is not going to arrive, right? So you have to be out there. You have to do something. You have to just, be open, go and meet people. And then suddenly luck arrives, right? So that's basically how it works.
And did you ever feel different from the people around you in school, or was everyone so active?
I guess I was always more active than the average, classmate. But I never kind of like felt it, right? It was never that I felt, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much. Why aren't you guys doing something, right? I wasn't, for example, I just understood that already when I was studying at school. I understood that, I'm giving up something. So, for example, my friends, they had way better grades at school than I did, because I was grading, studying in the evenings for, different activities, sports and stuff like that. So I always saw that it's like a trade-off. So other classmates were more, into studying, other classmates were more into something else. But yeah, I never felt like, there's a huge difference, but definitely I was more active than, the average.
And did you ever feel imposter syndrome? Do you know what it is up until now? Have you ever felt? Yeah.
Of course, still to this day. Of course, yeah. It's a
How do you deal
standard
with
thing. Sorry?
How do you deal with that? How do you say the imposter?
I guess I don't deal with it. I just know rationally that it's there. and I know that it exists and that it's just normal. It's part of, the whole process, and I just accept it. Because really, even, this year, many times I've felt this, imposter syndrome that, oh my gosh, who am I to even do this or that? I don't understand this or that. But yeah, I just accept it, there are days when you feel more down and that like nothing will work out for you. And then I let myself feel that way. I remember that years and years and years ago, I heard or read somewhere it was said that it's okay to feel like giving up. It's just not okay to actually give up. And it stuck to me so hard that to this day, whenever I feel kind of like down and bad, I always remember, but it's okay that I feel this way. It's okay. I just cannot stop, but it's totally fine. And that's the way how I deal with it. I just don't. I just accept that it's a part of the journey.
Right. That's very true. Thank you for the little quote that you remembered. I think it's important to remember that you can feel like that, but just move on, and everything will work out. Is the next part of your leadership and career journey at CTB? So after the online store, if we can.
Almost. So there was the online store, the event agency.
Yes.
Through event agency, I also started, organizing some part of the pre-election campaigns for political parties. I got involved into that as an event agency, not as the youth that is in the political party. So, and through that, I met other people and I joined like a co-owner of a bottled water company. So there was a bottled water company, which was, they are still, active to this day. It's called Amrita. And it was already, the brand was, already existing at that time. I just joined them because they saw that, hey, we could, move mountains together. And even back then I was very, this passionate, and I wanted, in that case, to become a co-owner of the business. Then we did that. But after a while, we understood that, it's kind of like cool thing. But I felt that, bottled water, very hard to scale. Very hard to scale. It's very heavy. If you have to, ship it, as we were trying to enter the US market, it's very heavy. Margins are very low. And then we literally decided that, that the owners that were there before, that they will keep running it, but I stepped away. And then CTB came, and then came CTB.
That's the beginning of car industry and your practical step into loving the car business.
When I was, I applied for that position because I saw country manager. I thought, okay, I have never actually up to that. It was 2018, I guess, something around that year. Up to that, I understood I have actually never worked a proper job. And I thought it would be really exciting and interesting. And I knew I don't want to go, work in a bank, but I would love to work, in some kind of like startup-ish company. And then CTB came, and then I applied. We had to do like homework because they were looking for a country manager who would bring in and launch the business in Latvia. So they didn't have anything in Latvia. And then the homework was, you had to prepare the whole launch, how it's going to happen, what are the operations, how are you going to run the business. And then I came back to them with the homework, and I guess they really liked it. And then they called me and offered the position. And I said, of course, yes. But I didn't really know how car sharing works at that time. In 2019, 2018, I had never, ever used car sharing before. Right. I didn't even know how it works, that it exists, and so nothing. I just said yes again. Yes to an opportunity,
So you were learning the business, learning your new role, and bringing it in Latvia. How did you balance it all?
So basically, the industry, it was very, in a sense, very easy to learn. Because, it's very straightforward. If you are a digital person, it's very straightforward. You have an app, you open the app, You have a car, you drive it, you know, you drop it off at another zone.
Yeah.
And then, so that part was quite easy. At that time, the CEO of the whole city he was in Lithuania. He was very supportive. So we had calls literally every single week. At first, I was alone. Then I hired the first fleet manager as the second person. We did everything together, kind of like I was picking up the phone, explaining people how it actually works, how to use the app, because we started out with the cargo vans as car sharing. We didn't start out with the passenger cars. So yeah, and as I was building the team, you know, slowly, one by one, adding, you know, hired the first person, then I hired the next person. So for me, it was very easy to learn even how to manage and be a leader, because, you know, I was doing it step by step. I wasn't thrown into, you know, a position suddenly where there's a company with 1,000 people. And as you do it step by step, it comes very natural and easy, you know. You just see how people react to things. I definitely tested a lot of things, you know. I know my mistakes. For example, I did some presentations and we had some drama in the team, and I got to know about it. And I actually, you know, while presenting everything and, you know, how the business is doing, so that all the team members would know it, we were around like 22, 25 people. Then I brought it up publicly and shamed those two people who were doing the drama. I would never do that again now, today, with today's knowledge. But back then, I was like, yeah, sure, of course, I'll just shame you publicly that, you know, what the hell are you doing? So I was doing everything as I felt. And then afterwards, you know, I just retrospectively looked at it and started, you know, adjusting my behavior, adjusting things, how I did them. But I was all the time also learning at the same time. So I was, at that time, there is a guy called Tom Bilyeu. He had sold his protein bar company for like 1 billion or something. And he created like a course for leaders, for business owners, for CEOs. And then I applied for that. And I was actually, as I was learning, you know, physically at the job, I was also learning from that course and really listening every morning as I was, you know, doing makeup and taking shower. I had all the time, you know, on the background that course, also learning about, you know, how to manage people, how to do this, how to do that. So I was all the time trying, you know, to learn from the best that have done what I would like to do.
Whom do you learn from now? Can you give some names or inspiration resources that you do use now?
Well, I listen to different podcasts. I used to listen, you know, mostly to this Tom Bilyeu and his podcast, and I was, you know, just him. But then I understood that, you know, I felt that I started thinking exactly like him. I started saying things exactly like him, and I thought that I'm losing my authentic vibe. So then I started, what I do now is I listen to different podcasts. Yeah. Because even to those where are people, you know, with whom I disagree. Yeah. And I feel irritated when I'm listening to them, but I still do it just, you know, to try to hear, you know, another perspective on things. So right now, the most active part for me is, this listening to podcasts and reading books. My inspirations, there are several. For example, there is a lady called Emma Grede. I don't know how to actually pronounce her last name in English. But she is behind all the Kardashian family businesses. She is actually the brain behind it all. And Kardashian family is, of course, you know, the face and the marketing and everything. So she's one, you know, that really inspires me. Then, of course, you know, everyone knows Sarah Blakely. Still, of course, she has already sold the business basically, but still an inspiration. Of course, still I remember Richard Branson, and I still, you know, I have saved even his things that he did, crazy things, because I love him for, you know, that he's different. He's not like, you know, your daily business owner. And yeah, they're, you know, the same guy with this Stephen Bartlett. I think most of you know him. The same Tom Bilyeu, I also listen to him because he is more, you know, on this extreme side. he's all about that you have to only like hustle like 24/7. You just don't, you all the time work, and you just, you have the sleeping time, but it's like either you sleep or you work. And I'm not all about that. So that's why I mix with, different perspectives, different entrepreneurs, women and men, because women do things differently, men do things differently, and then I try to combine them.
Mm-hmm. Good. And what do you think women do differently in leadership?
Well, women are more, how to say, we see situations from different angles and we can analyze them better. For example, I see that also, with my co-founders, that very often I'm the emotional intelligence part,
Mm-hmm.
for example, a deal, we need to close a deal, and then, we need to find the best way how to work with that. And I think that women will always bring this, bigger emotional intelligence side, and that they can navigate very often those negotiations, I would say, even, in a better way, that, leaving the other party feeling as if they have also won, because you need this feeling that the negotiation is never about the fact that you have to win. It's like both parties have to win. And then that is one thing. The second thing is that, it's even hard to, I don't know even how to characterize it. It's just different vibe. Very often women are actually, more driven, but they do it with compassion, that they want their people to be happy in order for their clients to be happy. Richard Branson has always said it. But actually, it's very, I would say, feminine feature that Richard Branson has always said. Employees come first, and only then come customers. If you will treat your employees right and they will be happy, your customers will be happy. And I would say that women, more often than men, actually apply this mindset. And they always, in that case, I think, get better results, because it is true, if the employee feels like, the CEO or the owner actually cares for them, they want to give back. And by giving back, they are caring for the customer. That's the way how they give back. So I guess those are, those two main things that I would say.
And what do you think differentiates you as a leader? Is it also the same things?
Well, hard to say. It's always very hard to tell something about yourself, right? Because you always think that, well, I'm no different than everyone else, right? I'm the same way. But I guess I'm this very person who I'm a huge risk taker. I can tolerate huge risks. And I'm more of this YOLO vibe, right? So I will just, if there's going to be a crazy idea, let's do it. Let's do this idea. No matter what, let's do it. Even if, there's a huge risk that something, will really fail. So I guess those might be, those things. And among us as co-founders, we have two that are more conservative. And then we are two that are more, these crazy living in the clouds and selling dreams and stuff like that.
All right. If talking about crazy ideas and your co-founders, then let's start with the next step in your career. If I know correctly, then OX Drive was born. True?
Yeah. After I left CDB, then we met up with my course mates from university, and literally it was one lunch where one of those guys said, Egija, but you have all the experience in car sharing. I know everything about Teslas. What if we do a Tesla car sharing? Okay. Yeah, why not? And that's it. That's how it started.
Cool. Do you have any risk matrix in your head? How do you make decisions? Oh, you probably, there are some thoughts that run through your head, like what can I lose? What else can be the risks? No,
I have no thoughts about what can I lose. I don't have that. The only thing that matters to me in that moment is, do I believe that this can make me into, a richer, wealthier, better person? Can this business, this project, this opportunity actually turn into something big.
Yeah.
In my mind, I believe it, then it's a yes.
Mm-hmm.
No other questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
If I think that, no, this is going to be, a small scale project,
Scale.
no, no option for like big scale. No, it's going to be very fast. That's why actually, the event agency, why I didn't continue it is because I knew that there is no future for the event agency to become something really successful, global, maybe international. I knew there is no option for that. But at that moment, that was the only business that I could start. So it's like, again, you go step by step, step by step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you, so also in that moment, I feel like if it was someone else offering you that, would you agree? So you trusted these people. You had studied together. Do you? So background also is business education at SSC Riga, right?
Yeah.
And then the network and people, and also the business knowledge and the whole combination, and the great idea is an instant yes to you.
I would have said yes also to anyone else.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, as I said, for me, it's not like I don't think about all the things like, oh, how will we actually do it in that moment? I always have this trust that we'll figure it out. If we want to do this, if I believe in it, we'll just figure it out along the way, So in that moment, of course, now as co-founders, we are friends. At that moment, we were not friends. We were acquaintances. We never hang out during the university, never. We were so different. Each of us had different set of friends.
Right.
We never, did anything together. It just happened that one of these Estonian, with him, we met accidentally at some startup events, started chatting. And as he was this fan of Tesla's and Elon Musk at that time, then kind of like made sense that, he meets up with me to discuss it. And then he had worked with one of the other guys together. And he was like, oh, I know that he's a really good guy in finance and, all of that background. And then the fourth guy. So it kind of like happened. It just happened. Yeah. But it was never like, we were some super close friends. So we started knowing each other through the idea. Yeah. But it basically for this Ox Drive, it was more of this Estonian who he was crazy in love with Teslas. He was just crazy in love with Teslas. He wanted to do whatever is connected with Teslas.
Right. And so he found in the right people to connect the dots and everything to happen. Currently, Ox Drive is not anymore run by you and your team. What is the takeaway that you brought with you to the next businesses that you run?
Nothing very, that very precise so that I can, give you top 3, but things with the team, for example, that, at Ox Drive, we tried to be very nice, and very often we didn't confront team members because we didn't want them to feel bad. So we kept waiting that they will change in a way. And of course it didn't happen. So that we remember, and always like, yeah, well, you actually got to say right away when something is wrong, because it wasn't something like big. It was, small things. And we thought, oh, if we are going to, now start picking up people and saying that, oh, you did this bad or that bad. But we understood you have to somehow manage the conversation and set the expectations, that, hey, we expect from you this and that and this. These are your KPIs, because very often we as founders, we were all over the place, because we have this big goal in our heads. So we can be all over the place. We can still be structured in a chaos. But when you have a team that is working for you just because they, for example, they love the idea, they love you, but they cannot work in chaos. They need structure. And so that is another thing, that we understood that for team, there has to be a structure. Even if, for you as a founder, you can work in chaos and it's totally fine for you. Really, you are better in chaos than in structure. But then for the team, you need structure. Also regarding negotiations with investors, we understood, things that we did maybe not that well back at that time because we didn't have that much experience in fundraising. We didn't really know how it works. So we, were too naive. So we gave away more shares than we should have, just because we didn't have that knowledge. Now it's different because we have actually gone through the process, and now those are totally different negotiations. But we could not have done it differently back in the days because we didn't have the experience. We were naive, so that also plays a role. And now it's a little bit different because that was B2C business, and now we're in B2B business. So we see things that are overlapping, but there are many things that differ completely. Those are the main things: fundraising, structure, and communication with the team that we took away as those. This we have to improve. But things that we learned through experimentation as a good thing is that, so we were not this huge company. We didn't pay like huge salaries because we were still a startup. We couldn't afford like huge salaries. But when we announced even a very junior position, for example, we had 80 applicants for one position. Crazy. And what we learned is that we created the brand so, in a way, sexy that people wanted to work for us just because of the brand. And we even told them that that we cannot afford to pay you this huge salary. And some people were willing even to sacrifice part of the salary with, of course, the hope that in the future they will be able to get a bigger salary, but just because of the brand, because they wanted to be associated. So we had this client relationships manager, and we remember seeing how he was so proud to call and say that he's working at Oxdrive. We remember that he has a call with his classmates from university or something, and that moment he's like, I'm with Oxdrive. And everyone, oh my gosh, how is it? So that is something, the good thing that we took with us, that if you want to hire the best people, one thing is money, but the other thing is actually build the brand. Now many are talking about this employer branding. It's actually very important, like super important, because people are not looking only for money. They want to feel that, the company that they're working at gives them status. Same way as you drive a Porsche and you work whatever, cool company. It's the same status symbol, right? So, and if you build that brand in that way, then even for junior positions, you can get amazing people and get away with smaller salaries.
That is true. Yeah, the brand. I can agree that the brand that you built looks very cool. And talking about, you mentioned that the business that you work in now is very different. It used to be B2C and B2B. Now, tell me a little bit. I watched your clips on Instagram about what Energy Cell does, but maybe you can tell to everyone else who is listening. What do you do now?
So after Oxdrive, we co-founded a company that's called Egija Gailuma. I know that it's kind of like very technical. To put it in a very easy way, we, as a software company, we build algorithms, and for our clients, we reduce electricity costs and create passive income, like literally passive income with IRR, or we can say also ROI, between 30 to 45%. So that's what we do in very simple way. So that's what the client gets, is like he has lower costs and he gets passive income. For that to happen, he has to buy battery energy storage system, for example, a container which consists of batteries. And for that container to pay off for the customer, it takes around 1 to 2 years, depending on the size, on their self-consumption. And then our algorithms and our platform, what it does, so we are the energy trader. And in energy, in general, the whole European grid system runs on 50 hertz frequency. And it doesn't even matter what does it mean, but just imagine it's 50 hertz frequency. If it will drop or go significantly above, we will have Spain. No electricity whatsoever, because the frequency dropped for them. And this frequency gets more unstable when we have more renewable energy. So the more renewables we will have, the more unstable the grid is going to become, more energy outages we are going to see in countries. So then we come in as this company in the middle that we, serve basically high voltage operators for Latvians augstsprieguma tīkli, because they are the ones responsible for the, the grid stability, the high voltage grid stability. And for them, in order to stable it, they need suppliers who can either give the energy to them when they have not enough, or take away the energy from the voltage grid operator when it's too much. And in that moment, if you have just like, let's say, company that has the storage system, they cannot provide the service to this, operator without us. So there we come in, because you have to have infrastructure. There are minimum amounts. And for example, company has 100 kilowatts, doesn't matter what does it mean, 100 kilowatts, but the minimum amount is 1 megawatt, which is, 10 times more. So they cannot participate in it. We offer that, hey, we will take you and 10 more like you, and we will aggregate you all, and then you will be able to participate. And for this stabilization, we get paid from the augstsprieguma tīkli, high voltage grid operator. But in order to maximize the profits, what we do is our algorithms are playing with the energy markets, in a sense, ancillary markets that are, frequency regulation, then you have grid balancing, and then also wholesale. For example, if you have heard the name Nord Pool, it's for this region, the wholesale. So we could, for example, you, Elza, would own this one container, which is the battery system. Then what we would do, let's say it's empty. We would charge it up from the grid operator. They would pay you money and us for that. And then immediately our algorithm would see that, hey, but we can sell it on wholesale for a great price. So now you earned twice for energy that never belonged to you. You actually never had it, but you got paid twice just because you have this system in place. And then we have all those algorithms that are all the time checking where to, submit the prices, where to participate, what to do with this energy, what to do with this energy. And so I don't know if this was easy enough to explain, because I try with every time I'm practicing myself to make it as easy as possible. So I hope this was relatively easy, but basically energy trader who trades with other people's energy.
That is very smart, very smart. I could never figure it out to start that business, but I applaud you. Is that the same team that was Ox Drive, Oxworks, and now Engisa?
Almost. So the Estonian has a different business. So we separated. So we were four. Three of us went to this business, and one, this Estonian guy, he separated and he's doing his own business.
Right. And who came up with this idea? How could you connect all the dots that there is a gap in this market?
It actually came very organically.
Right.
So when we had Ox Drive, then we were having this in-house repair shop that we still have to this day. So we have this in-house repair shop, and we were, in order to get original Tesla spare parts, they're very expensive at Tesla and also very hard to get. So we started buying up damaged cars from Germany. Let's say it has damaged front, but everything else is in very good condition. So you have, you get these original spare parts for cheap. And we were left with batteries. And as we were left with batteries, we were thinking, wait, what do we do with batteries? Because actually, the Teslas, they don't need battery change, for years and years and years. So no one really needed them. And we understood that, hey, you know what? One of our biggest cost positions is electricity, because we were charging cars 24/7. So we on our own built like a small energy storage system consisting of 4 Tesla batteries. And we saved on electricity prices like 30%, because that was the main idea. Let's charge our small storage system. Let's charge it during the night when the electricity is cheap on the market. And then during the day when the electricity is expensive, let's take the electricity from those batteries, right?
Right.
And that's like very, very simple. You don't even need to create a software. You can also get such softwares out there very easily. That's how it started. And then some companies got to know about it and they started asking whether we can also build it for them. And then we started by building those storage systems. Fast forward, we understood that we are trying to compete with Chinese manufacturers who are way more cheaper, who can build way more faster and way better. So we just dropped it and understood, okay, let's just keep working on the software and let's just, keep exploring. And as we already knew how you can arbitrage the price, then we were just literally just digging deep and trying to understand what else can you do with the batteries. And that's how we, got to it.
Wow, that's great. I love how the story develops and grows even further and further. I have so many more questions, and I see that someone's typing in the chat, but I see also that we are a little bit over the time, and maximum that I can ask from you now is 9 minutes. But there are many topics that I want to ask, and I want to touch upon the resilience and your daily rituals and your values, and how do you keep all this energy? So you work in energy business, but you are an energy bomb yourself. So how do you keep it up? What is your secret sauce?
I don't have a secret sauce. Like really, I'm always saying I'm just high on life. I just really, really, love life as such. But what I do, well, I don't have some very specific rituals. In the mornings, I listen to podcasts or, for example, to some really motivational music, but it has to be inspirational. Maybe, it may even be, for example, Christian worship, for example, songs. So either that or I will listen to podcasts. So that is the only ritual in the morning, because I'm not a morning person. I love sleeping, right? I really love sleeping. And then, but what I do is I do a lot of sports. And I think that for me, at least, is very important, because for me, I have this very weird thought in my head that if I'm going to be physically strong, I have to feel that I'm physically stronger than other, for example, people. And I immediately feel that I can, do whatever, in all the other parts of my life. And that's why I really, really push hard, for sports. I do beach volleyball, I do gym, I do horse riding. In winter, I go snowboarding. So I try to be also very versatile, not just stick to one sport, because for me, it gives me that feeling that more sports I learn. Also now I picked up golf. That way I develop myself and I become stronger. I become, I make my body learn new movements. So it's this weird sense that kind of like I have to do it in order for me to feel my best. And if I physically feel amazing, then I also mentally feel amazing, right? So for me, those are literally more or less, the only rituals. And just love of my life is my, animals, in a sense that I really want, my mission is to help them. Then that just also keeps me going, that I always remember that if not me, then who else will kind of like make a charity fund for, employees that work at charity institutions.
Yeah, true. So your passions in sport keep you running also and add to the richness of your daily life.
Yeah, definitely.
If you would have to run a course on entrepreneurship, what would be the first lesson to teach?
Don't overthink. Just don't overthink. Literally, I guess that would be the first lesson, to just find out whether that's something that works and people would be really, really ready to pay for it. Because for this energy business, we started selling when we still didn't have the platform, right? So we were literally in the very beginning when we started already selling, and then we had to think how to get out of that when people actually said, yes, okay, please send me an agreement. And we understood, oh my gosh, we don't have anything. But that would be the first lesson. Don't overthink it. Just try selling it to someone, after, of course, you have to do your research. That's of course part of it. But if you do your research for a month, for 2 months, and that's it, then try and sell it to someone.
Okay. We have 2 questions in the chat.
I don't see.
Adara says, hi, thank you for the great live. What practical advice would you offer to those who struggle to say yes more often? Whether due to shyness, imposter syndrome, or self-doubt. But I guess you just answered, don't overthink it, yeah?
Yeah, well, I guess with this, there is this I know your question, mother. I really understand what do you mean, because even to this day I still have some moments where I'm afraid, scared, or I'm, feel like, oh, I don't want to do it. I really feel shamed.
Mm-hmm.
But I always to myself think, fuck it. Just fuck it. I'll just do it. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? We are all gonna die. No one is gonna remember this. And and what else I remember, when you feel that, it's your shyness. Remember of, for example, we had a guy who had a fight in at his house, and he was saying that he's, managing the whole country, and he was drunk.
Yeah.
We had a guy who said, this politician in interview, he didn't really know the English. What was he saying? Do you remember, Elza?
No.
So there is this politician, he went for some interview and he really didn't know the English, the Latvian politician.
Yeah.
Nothing special. Slakteris. Yes, nothing special. Thank you, Eva. So kind of like, I always remember those that people forget things so fast. Come on, Schlesers again is voted in. Really? We don't remember what Schlesers did? Really? And that just shows you that people don't remember. They don't think about you. So this is something that I remember, that fuck it. If this is going to bring me closer to my goal, I'll just do it. I'll suck it up. No one will notice that I'm, ashamed. And if you don't show it that you are ashamed, people actually secretly think that, oh my gosh, I would love to be her, that she's, so, unashamed, or whatever that wording is. That people always think that you're not ashamed, even though you are. So it's just like, fuck it and just try to do it.
All right. The next question. How do you make choices in which direction to go business-wise if you have several options?
Easy. Whichever is has the biggest scale potential. Of course, if you want, Linda, you can text me later more, but in general, the easy answer for me is whichever has the biggest potential for scale and for growth. If it's, for example, just a bakery versus some digital product, definitely digital product, unless your goal is actually that you just want, something that you have passion for, but you don't have a goal to build like, this whatever multi-million-dollar brand worldwide, then it's fine. But if you're looking for whichever is, gonna bring you more closer to your scaling goal, then
Okay. And then it's, I think, just seconding what you said about sports and thank yous. I do have a couple more questions. We have 2 more minutes, but I have at least one more question. All right, I will have 2. First part of the question is, what's the next big thing for you? What excites you that you are working on, and if we can help you?
Well, so right now it's the energy business. So it's very recent, right? We really launched it in January, something like that. So that's the next big thing. We want to expand to other markets in 2026. Right now, the biggest opportunities that we are working on are, for example, in Sri Lanka, 460 megawatt hour project. 640 megawatt hour project. So those are the most exciting things for us now. Well, how can you help? Well, if you hear any company that would consider buying a storage system in order to reduce the costs and increase their passive income, then you know the person to whom to appoint them. So that's, So it's basically any company could be our customer.
All right. Agreed. We will know whom to call. And then I want to ask you, does Novatore movement mean anything to you?
Well, I've been only, a few years ago when you just started out. I think only then I was really participating at some events. So now I've been more, distant from any events all the time, working and building. But in general, today was the first time that I actually checked the webpage, this, I don't know how to call it, the dashboard, everything. Yeah. And it reminded me that actually it's literally the same as Sofia Amoruso. She has this business class in the US, and she has it's literally, you know, the same thing. And I think it's super great because I also had taken those courses from her, and I remember that, you know, that there are so many cool people with whom you can hang out and actually meet up. And I saw that there were, you know, people who started, you know, some projects together, collaborated. And when I saw this platform, I thought it's literally the same, the idea that, you know, that is so cool. And she has done it already also for many years, and it's just growing, because you otherwise can feel very lonely when, you know, when you are being a top performer, whether it's in business, whether it's, you know, in corporate job. When you are a top performer, when you are on the executive level, you can feel very lonely. And then it's kind of like sometimes you may even start doubting yourself whether it's all worth it. And then communities like these are the ones that actually kind of like give you that family feeling, that there are other person who also understands how you feel. They have similar or different struggles. It's kind of like, you know, nice feeling that, you know, you can share, and no one will be like, oh, why are you complaining? You know, there are those people who always will make you feel bad for complaining because you are at this top level, let's say executive at some company, but you still have problems, right? And then it's cool that you have these people who can actually say, I get you, I understand you, oh my gosh, I feel the same, you know, and you immediately feel liberated, and you again are ready to go and conquer the world.
Great. That's exactly why we built it. And thank you for sharing more than 1 hour of your time today in your super busy schedule, with all the responsibilities that you have and all the great things that you do for running as a role model in entrepreneurship. And I see in the chat, and I feel in myself, that I feel more empowered to keep doing what I do, and to just do it, and not to overthink too much, and be open to all opportunities. Thank you so much, Egija, for joining today and sharing your leadership journey. And the next Mission Executive Live is on August 14th. See you, everyone.
Yes? One more thing about this saying yes. I just remembered very cool quote about that. When you think about whether to do it or not, the people who will judge you are only the ones who do less than you, and they will never, ever achieve what you will achieve. And that's proven fact, that those who are either in front of you or along you, they will never judge you for, you know, doing crazy things and crazy stuff. They will be like, oh my gosh, girl, go, you know, go for it. So that's also important to remember, that do you really care about the opinion of people who will never, you know, go after those things that you're going after? That's it. I'm done with talking. Thank you so much.
Drop the mic. What a perfect ending. Thank you so much, Egija. Your energy really inspires.
Thank you, Elza. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Egija.
Thanks. Ciao.
Okay, now I have to finish the live. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.